Hello, welcome to our neighborhood. I'm one of your two hosts. My name is DeForest. This is my other co-host, Hani.
And we have very special guests this week. We have Neil Chaskey of the Sioux Valley Dakota Nation and Kevin Carney, whose Native American name is Nighthawk, or one who sees at night. They are from the Wamdi Ska Oyate, Wamdi Ska Oyate, which is the Dakota language for white eagle Oyate. We also have some other very special guests that I will let Kevin introduce.
We have with us today the Black Hawk drum, and we'd like Brian Blanchette, who is the leader and the drum keeper of the group, to introduce everyone around the drum and to tell us a little bit about the drum.
We're the Black Hawk Singers.
Thank you.
And we're doing something a little different on the in the community. We're writing songs in what was the original language in this area. We've been taking them out onto the powwow circuit, performing them for several years now, and we've been very fortunate. They've been received well, and some of you were probably well aware that there is a renaissance in the culture, the native culture of the area that's been going on, and so it's been a very exciting time for us. My friend Mark Brittenall wrote the lyrics. Maybe, Mark, you could say a little bit about some of the songs and your desire to write them.
My uncle John, Running Deer, Nolka, he kind of wanted to hear songs written in the language, and so I said, all right, I'm going to try and do this. So I put some thoughts and words into it, and Brian writes the music and makes it into a song. It's just a thought from my part, and we make it work and work it through it and turn it into something that's exciting, for us anyway.
Thank you. You ready to go into a song?
Please.
Okay. Join us in the circle. This is the first song we wrote together.
much. That was
That was
marvelous.
wonderful.
That
Thank you.
was.
Wonderful doesn't even begin to
No,
cover
it
it. Thank you.
doesn't.
The interesting thing about the Abenaki language, it's a very beautiful language. It was by some of the scholars that came here from Europe that first heard it, they said it was more beautiful than any of the Romance languages from Europe. So to have the opportunity to put that to a melody is truly a gift. It really is. You know, just to be. I'm so thankful for being able to do what we're doing.
And we're very thankful that you shared it with us. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Yes. And now I know that Kevin has something to talk about with the history of, let me see if I can get this right, Wamdi Ska Oyate.
Actually, no, actually I need to turn that over to Neil because our story really begins with Neil.
Okay.
And it begins with a vision that he brought to us and experiences that he had. We started for a lot of different reasons consecutively, and we have a lot of work ahead of us with a lot of other people. But I need to bring the story to the beginning with my friend Neil.
Alright, Wamdi Ska Oyate. The journey began 8 years ago. And I'm going to tell how it came to be and how it started 8 years ago for me. You know how people have dreams about certain animals out there. Mine came in real life. It was up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, when I was living up there, there was this you know, my place in Winnipeg. I went outside about between 11:15. Went out for a chundi, which means smoke, cigarette, and just sitting there, just having a smoke. But at the same time, I was trying to think of a name for the company, what I wanted to start, which was a simple utility pole company. And I was just sitting there and having a smoke, chundi, and in the corner of my eye, I saw a big white bird, like something white, and there's a big pine tree in the back, and it flew, like it literally, you could hear the wings, and it went past me, but there was somebody there as well that saw it with me. And it landed on the big pine tree that was right in the backyard there. And this was right in the city of Winnipeg. And it landed. And literally the top of the tree went down. The top of the tree went down. And I looked at the other person that saw it, and she couldn't believe it. And we were both like, okay, did we just see that? And then, like about 4 or 5 seconds, it was gone. And so we just kind of stood there. We looked at each other, and we were like, okay, did that just happen? And the thing, well, basically, the Wamdi Ska came to me in real life. And it was a honor. It's hard. The feeling is.
My heart just went to my throat. My goodness.
It's so we went. Me and the person I was with walked back inside the house, and um, her dad was there, and we were sitting there. We told him we were like, we couldn't believe it, so we told him, and I was like, we were just shocked. We were just amazed. We just couldn't believe it, but the funny part was all that time I was trying to think of a name for my venture, and couldn't think of it, until that day, and that day was special, and there I was there. You could say I was kind of slow, because then I went back to, but I still didn't need a name for the company. I don't know what to name it. And her dad was sitting there, and he looked at me, he says, "Okay, Neil, what did you just see? What did you just see out there?" And I said, "Okay, yeah." It took me a while, until it snapped, until I just realized it. And there was the name, Wamdi Pasca. Wamdi Ska is the real name. And since that day, my journey began with this. And I grew spiritually. I went through a lot of learning. I went through a lot of finding who I am, and I grew. And they say the ego is strong. The ego is very strong. And each day I grow stronger. And each day, every minute, every hour, and I say, "Wait, ego Oyate, Wamdi Ska shall succeed. It shall succeed." And since that day, I went through a lot of things. I went through, I gave up my home for somebody, of a good friend of mine. People did not understand that. I gave up my furniture, everything, because he needed more. Him and his family needed that more. And so all the people that entered my life through that journey, there's many, and I grew, I traveled, met a lot of people, and I grew.
Could I interrupt you?
Yes.
Just when you were searching for a name for your company, and you had this visitation from something very, very special, did you know at that time that you were headed on a journey, or simply trying to start a company? Did that visitation touch off a spiritual journey of a bigger nature than what you first set out to do?
Yes, it did. Because I was just looking at a very small company. Okay,
So it
just to
wasn't just a
start.
bird that came in the backyard. This was something much, much greater.
Right.
That gave you something inside and touched a bigger journey for you.
Correct. I mean, I didn't think that this was going to actually be worldwide, and this is how I pray. About everything that's happening around Mother Earth, all the destruction, all the chemicals out there that needs to disappear, basically what I'm saying. And at that time, during that whole journey, met wonderful people, positive people, you know, and it's just amazing. It was just it's amazing journey of um, what I went through, and
And it's far from over.
it's far from over. That's correct.
And
It's
it
still going.
certainly has
It's-
brought many, many wonderful people to you, as well as your emanating your spiritual growth. It works both ways, doesn't it?
Right.
People
Yeah.
come to you and you give to them, and like we talked about earlier, when you throw a stone in the pond, the ripples in the water, you're the stone.
Yeah.
You have a bigger vision that grows bigger the more you travel in your journey.
Right.
And
And
the spiritual journey became a sustainable company out of a sustainable, did the idea come before you saw the eagle, or was it after? Was it part of the journey? How does
Oh,
this fit together?
actually, it was before, because my experience, my experience is in the utility pole company, and you know, I've been doing that for many years, and you know, going from pole to pole, treating, maintaining utility poles, and you know, over time, you know, at first I hated the job, okay, because you're digging around poles, you know, you do that all day. At first I hated it, but over time I fell in love with it. It was something that, you know, it's like life, you know. You don't quit on life. You don't quit on, you know, what you want to do in life. You don't want to, you know, so each pole that I dug is like a life, you know. I'm not going to quit on this, you know. I'm going to keep going on this and get this pole done, you know. And, you know, that's determination.
Yes.
You don't quit.
And our audience, we have not introduced what your company actually does, so maybe we better fill them in on that. But someone brilliant once said, winning in the margins, and that's really what you did. You took what you were already doing and turned it into something absolutely wonderful. So if you could explain that to the audience.
To provide a background for that, it should be noted that we're really kind of in our infancy. We do not have a company, per se. What we are doing is presenting a concept. Right now, we're in the process of looking for funding. We've attracted a lot of attention. With Neil's vision, with his concept, when we first met, when he showed us what his idea was, it was expansive. There's a lot to it because it isn't just about doing things that are sustainable. It isn't just about replacing poison. It's also about helping people who need jobs, helping our own communities, helping Native Americans who are in a perilous situation and being overlooked all the time. So when Neil first introduced himself to me and he told me what he wanted to do, it was like a light that went off. Not because of Neil, but because of his idea, because of his vision and what came to him. It showed a way of doing something in a full circle with full benefit to the people doing the work, the aftermath of the work, everything that he taught, you know, or he showed us with his plan fit into a lot of what people here have already been feeling, you know, about how do we help, how do we effectively do what we need to do as people and help each other, and not an easy one to answer, especially when we're not part of the communities that we want to help. You know, we have to think of all of these things and we'll, you know, walk in a real honorable way with this. So there are people that we have contacted across the nation and even throughout the world that are supporting what it is that we want to do. But we haven't actually begun the utility. We've done gads of research and we're still in development. We have We have a good business partner in the utility pole business, James White, who isn't here with us today, that you know, needs to be mentioned. And there are many people that we've been working collaboratively with in developing this plan. And even in looking at being in an encouragement sort of seat here, and getting other people to look at ways that they might also think of their own ways of doing things in a sustainable way, of bringing good jobs to people that need them. You know, jobs that people don't have to feel poorly about. You know, jobs that really serve an honorable purpose in protecting our Earth Mother and making a good living in a good way.
And living with dignity.
And living with dignity. And so things really just blossomed from Neil's first idea. You know, it's really taken on a very spiritual path and a much broader path. And there are many more considerations to what we are doing than what we initially started with. But I think actually he actually had all the considerations. But it wasn't until I think we really kind of connected with other people that all of these pieces started to come together and come to fit together. You know, and we become strengthened by it. And
To combine energy.
exactly. And that other people see where they fit in. And we're going to go forward. We're going to go forward with the utility pole project. Should mention that we've been done gads of research and looking at product lines that are safe, and really trying to come to a decision about how to best do it in the best way, how to provide the most jobs from it, how to turn the business that we're starting over to other people. And there are details that need to be worked out yet. And we want to go, you know, Neil and I, right from the very beginning, and you know, like, I think I share the hearts of many here. We want to go to Pine Ridge. We want to go where the wounds are the deepest within the 5 nations. We don't want a Band-Aid. We want to go right to the source and bring the work there.
That would be absolutely marvelous. Should we take a short break to have another
Please,
song
be honored.
from Blackhawk?
From the Blackhawk Singers.
From the Blackhawk Singers.
Will we get to do it?
Kisukuni means beautiful is the day. It's an expression that means beautiful is the day. And what we're saying in the song is, Katana Tabani has created thank you. And we're saying it's a beautiful day. All tribes are welcome to dance. Basically, there's a bunch of vocables that go along with it. But it's I like to use that song when it's the sun's out, or it just feels good at the powwow. That's our way of saying, hey, you know what? This really is a beautiful day to come together and get together and sing. So what we're doing realistically with this song is it's simplistic in words and trying to write melodies that they're catchy in a sense, but something you would want to sing. So you find yourself singing the song later.
Yes.
And you're singing the lyrics, so we're actually blowing life into a language, really, right? Breathing life into a language, so to speak, right?
It's incredibly uplifting. You just feel good listening to it, and it does get stuck in your head.
That's the idea. We're really, I mean, the intent here is to, the mantra, so to speak, is to put that out there. We're trying to put positive energy out there, regardless of what's coming out around us, just that warrior spirit. We don't really care what's coming at us. This is what we're doing. And if the right attitude, we can use the energy word if that works for a lot of people, but the right thought process has to be happening before we go in and start singing at the drum, because whatever is in our minds when we're playing on the drum, that's what's going to come out of the drum. If there's somebody that's nervous around the drum, somebody's dealing with a battle with somebody that they're in a relationship with, or a child or something like that, that in a sense comes out, and you can see just things aren't working right around. If we're at a powwow and we're under a drum arbor with another drum, not so much with us, because I really go out of our way to make sure everything is working right. It's just an old Medewan way of doing things. But when there is unharmony, that is sensed around, and you can see it in the faces and just the general body language of the people that attend and are listening.
And everyone is playing the same drum, as opposed to an orchestra where you can have one instrument out of tune. You're all playing the same
We're going to
instrument.
incorporate some other things along with this too, using some traditional Abenaki instruments into music. That's something that we'll be starting to incorporate this year into the songs. But in a sense, yes, we're all playing on one, and we're all trying to focus on that one drum so that we're all in unison, not paying attention to what anything else is going around. I used to give this signal to people. If you watch, I'm doing a lot of hand signals trying to control what's going on, but I go eyes, on the drum, so that people were actually, so you get that uplifting experience, and that's really what it's for. Our first CD, we released our first CD a few years ago with several Abenaki language songs on it. It's called Just for the Fun of It.
Oh my.
That's really what we're doing it for. We're really doing it just for the fun of it. If we're doing it for something else, then shame on us.
Okay, and where can people get that?
It's actually on iTunes,
Okay,
cdbaby.net.
okay.
And then like us on Amazon, like us on Facebook. We're on Facebook. You can buy the songs on Facebook. So.
That's
And where is
absolutely-
home base for you?
We have affiliation with the Abenaki tribes around here, but the majority of us live within the Blackstone Valley area, outside of Massachusetts and Rhode Island.
So you've come
Right.
quite a ways to be here tonight.
We travel a lot. We go to Canada. We take a yearly trip to what is considered was one of the main Abenaki camps years ago, which is Odanak. And we've been doing, this will be our 4th year in a row doing their annual powwow. We've been to the other Abenaki reservation, Wolanak. We've been out to Listagush, which is the mouth of the, it's actually pronounced Listagush, but I believe it's listed as the Ristagush River. It's that other main river that's south of the St. Lawrence. about a 12 to 14-hour ride to get out that way. We're looking at going to Newfoundland this year, but the cost of the ferry just became a little too much, so we had to back up on that. But I mean, we love to travel. We love to travel and meet people and make friends. And that's, you know, if we do that, that's what we're supposed to do, really, right? If we carry our songs and people like the songs, whether they, you know, we're not out there trying to sell the CDs. You know, that's not the idea. But if we make friends and we have connections, we have a drum group from Prince Edward Island that's coming to a powwow that we host next week. So that's a really good feeling to know that we've made those types of connections out there. They're 14 hours away.
My goodness.
And another way to unite people, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Bringing people together, music is a wonderful way to bring people together.
Music is very powerful.
Yes, it is.
Thing significant about the drum is that our cultures are very diverse. I think when people have image, especially people who don't know Native American people very well, there's a tendency to kind of group everybody in one package. And the truth of the matter is that we're all very different from each other. We're a diverse culture in many different ways. And to have them here today is quite an honor. You know, not only to bring forward, you know, a language that is imperiled and preserving it and keeping it moving forward, but also in representing with the drum. And, you know, one of the ties that binds all of the tribes is that this is representative of the Earth Mother's heartbeat. And the feeling that you were talking about is because of that. And that's something that's universal for us.
Universal, unifying
Yes.
force. Yep. Yep. It's a rhythm that our bodies can respond
Yes.
to. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yes,
very
thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
And so you brought up a very dark subject about Pine Ridge, but you are trying to overcome that and give
It's-
people hope?
Yes, and I should say, I should be more clear in that, is that in concept, I think we want to go there only because we know that there's a need. We know that, but there are needs in other places. Where Neil is from, up in Manitoba, there's just as much a need. And there are other places. But through our hearts, we're reaching out, we're letting people know that we're hearing. And part of what we can do in an immediate sense is to help share their stories. And not speak for them, but to share our opportunity to be with you here today and over the next few shows, to share that opportunity for a way for others to come forward and also speak. And also let people know what's going on. I don't think that by and large a lot of people are really aware of what's happening in contemporary Native America. I think we all have this imagery that we've held on to, that we've been kind of force-fed, that we need to let go of. And that we need to, you know, there needs to be a greater understanding of what the truth is. And, you know, it's a big part of our message and our mission. And it's kind of how things have evolved and changed and why it seems so complicated. But all of these things are important, and all of these things are connected. And it's, you know, we are ready for this. The world is ready for this. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but there's really a convergence of understanding now, not only with Native American culture, but with knowing that if we don't actively pursue new alternatives and taking care of the Earth Mother, we're all going to suffer for it. And a lot of what people within Native America are talking about has come true, you know, and they've been right about so many things for so long, and passed right over.
Well, I think we've been in a period, I lived in Germany and in the 70s, and they thought that all Americans, I never let on that I was even American. They thought that all Americans just were John Wayne riding horses, and I think we have a media-induced thought process that is being broken now. because we have places like CCTV, public television, YouTube, Facebook. I think there's a chance to break through that corporate media
We have to.
into something much bigger.
Well, you know, a good example of what you're saying too is that we're talking about, okay, we're talking about tragic things, we're talking about dark things. But what also needs to come to the forefront is that we're talking about a proud and enduring people. People who do not want to be pushed around, who want to be able to lead their own lives, who don't want to be led by the hand and told what to do, but they need to be helped so that they may become self-empowered. And that's what we want to help to do.
Okay. Well, I thank you for being here, and we would like to end with the Black Hawk Singers, if that's all right, to
Sure.
take us away with something really uplifting.
Thank you. That
Thank
was
you
wonderful.
very much.
Quite an experience.
Yes, this was wonderful. So thank you, Black Hawk Singers, and thank you, Neil and Kevin, for being our guests, and we hope to have you again sometime soon. And thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you.
Good night.